We have another rumor as far as what one of the major PlayStation 5 launch titles is going to be, and it might actually paint a clearer picture of what games might be dropping this holiday. We'll talk that. Also, keeping on topic of PlayStation 5, a heatsink patent has been made public. And lastly, Doraemon Story of Seasons is coming to the PlayStation 4 over here in the West on September 4th. We'll talk that game at the end of this video. But first of all, a brand new rumor is suggesting that Watch Dogs Legion will be a PlayStation 5 launch game. Now, if you didn't actually know, Watch Dogs Legion was initially scheduled to release back in March, saw a delay indefinitely, and it was going to be put on the PlayStation 5. I imagine it'll be a PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, and Xbox One title. I know that everybody would like to see games being transitioned to the PlayStation 5 exclusively, at least if you're buying a PlayStation 5, so the technical limitations can be completely removed. However, that is just not feasible to do right out of the gate, given that there are going to be so many people that are going to stick with the PS4, and that the PS5 supply is just going to be limited. And if you're spending a lot of money on creating big budget titles like a Watch Dogs Legion, you're gonna want to sell as many copies as possible. Watch Dogs Legion was actually delayed alongside Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine. All of those games were scheduled to be released before the end of April, and here we are, and we don't know much about any of those games. Video Game Chronicles, who are very reputable, reports that Legion is currently planned as a PlayStation 5 launch title. It's set to debut alongside next-gen consoles, suggesting there won't be a current-gen version releasing before then. However, I would still have to assume that a current generation version is going to be happening. It might even happen before the release of the PlayStation 5. Remember, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was the same story. It came out on the PS4 and Xbox One. The Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 version actually came out a little bit earlier, which prompted a lot of people to double dip on the game. However, I think back then they were doing that upgrade program, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. If it's true, that's an unsurprising development, as I assumed Watch Dogs Legion would be a PS5 launch title. However, that does change the scope of things of what does this mean for the next Assassin's Creed game, because I don't think Ubisoft is going to be in the position where they want to release Assassin's Creed, a new one, and Watch Dogs Legion, two big budget open world games right around the same time. I mean, they could do it and both games would still probably do relatively well. However, why compete with yourself if you don't have to? Honestly, at that point, I would say finish up the Assassin's Creed game, keep it in the can, and then release it sometime in the spring. I know that's not typically what Ubisoft likes to do, but you've got a Watch Dogs Legion coming out. You've got Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine. Hopefully all of those are out by the end of the year. Does Assassin's Creed need a new entry this year? Let people salivate a little bit more. Let people get a little bit hungrier for a new Assassin's Creed title. Now, do I think they're going to do that? History shows that Assassin's Creed usually comes out in the fall, so I would imagine it would ultimately be a fall release. But again, I just think competing with yourself, we've seen what it did to Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 did okay, but Titanfall 2, man, that game just got ravaged by all the other first-person shooters coming out, and EA decided to compete with themselves back in 2016. I just think that should be a case study of why compete with yourself if you don't have to. Assassin's Creed is always going to be there. Watch Dogs Legion, on the other hand, is the game that I could see really getting affected by Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs coming out right around the same time. I do think there's a little bit of a crossover in terms of fan appeal of those two games, but Assassin's Creed definitely holds a little bit more of the name cachet and name value. Let me know if you guys disagree. What would be your game plan and methodology if those games came out, let's say, right around the same time, a month apart from one another, because I think there would be very few people that would actually end up picking up both games. But as VGC noted, Watch Dogs Legion is currently scheduled as the PlayStation 5 launch title, and as a launch title, I think that's very advantageous for Legion as well, because that's going to be one of those games that people immediately gravitate towards. Look, I imagine the PlayStation 5 launch is going to be rather packed with a lot of great games, but it's going to be a launch lineup at the end of the day. It's going to be limited, and those people that buy the console day one, they are going to be in a position of being like, okay, I want to pick up all of the high-quality games. Watch Dogs Legion is going to directly be gravitated towards as one of those high-quality games to go alongside whatever Sony decides to put out from a first-party standpoint. Nonetheless, there you have it with that. Moving on, but keeping on the PlayStation 5 topic, PSU noted PlayStation 5 heatsink patent is now available publicly. Here's a description of what is included with the patent. A heatsink is disposed on a lower surface of a circuit board. The circuit board has through holes that penetrate the circuit board in an area where an integrated circuit appears is disposed. Heat conduction pads are provided in the thorough holes. The heat conduction pads connect the integrated circuit apparatus 5 and the heatsink. This structure allows for disposition of a component different from the heatsink on the same side as the integrated circuit apparatus, thus ensuring a higher degree of freedom in component layout. So it looks like the heatsink is going to be very advantageous in terms of putting the components in the right places so it doesn't overheat. I mean, that was a little bit of an issue with some of the consoles in the past. Overheating is always going to be a problem, and you need to limit those issues as best as you can, and it looks like Sony is pulling that off with the PlayStation 5 Heatsink Pan. I'm always a little bit skeptical when we're going into the launch of a new console with things like overheating, things like a red ring of death, a blue light of death, whatever. Was it blue light or yellow light of death? You guys get the idea. Sometimes there are some inherent issues. That's why if you aren't that eager to get a launch console, it's probably going to be the best for you and your peace of mind to pick it up a year, 2 years down the line. You'll get it at a cheaper price. You'll probably bundle it with a game. Yes, you won't be able to play it right away, but let's be real, the games are just going to get better and better deeper into the console generation. If you're really thinking about it logically, if you're not gonna be, a victim of FOMO, fear of missing out, I really do think it's going to be the best case scenario for people to wait a little while, especially if it does end up being $500, $550, especially in the current global climate. Nonetheless, there you have it with that. Lastly, I do want to note that Doraemon Story of Seasons for PlayStation 4 is coming west on September 4th. Now, this is kind of noteworthy right now because Animal Crossing has so much attention around it right now. Is this an Animal Crossing clone? Absolutely not. However, it definitely has some similarities to an Animal Crossing. Japan's adored Doraemon meets Story of Seasons in a new fresh take on farming. It's already available on Steam, and that was released back in October of last year. Very positive reception on it. 728 Steam user reviews, 86% positive. The recent reviews actually paint an even better picture. 26 user reviews, 96% of those being positive. The setting is Natora, and at the center of this land is the mystical big tree. Doraemon and friends will each take on a role to help out around town. The theme of this experience is creating bonds with the town residents, and while doing so, enjoying the heartwarming interactions through each character and the part they play in the story. But building a farm and raising horses and cattle like in other Story of Seasons games isn't the only thing to do. Explore the town of Natora, go on adventures, catch bugs, and much more. Fans of the Doraemon series will also be happy to know that Doraemon's gadgets can be used to assist you in your new everyday life. Enjoy the nostalgia of Doraemon and Story of Seasons while helping Nobi live this farm life in this unique, lovable land. Alright, so many of you guys probably wanted to pick up a Nintendo Switch for Animal Crossing. That probably isn't going to happen considering Nintendo Switches are like $500-$600 right now. However, this will definitely offer something that will be a little bit of a replacement. I mean, there's games like Animal Crossing already available on the PS4, but you really can't replicate what AC is. At the same time, Doraemon Story of Seasons looks to offer something compelling in its own right, and it will be coming to the PS4 on September 4th. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, current rumors suggest that Watch Dogs Legions will be a PlayStation 5 launch title. That is coming from Video Game Chronicles. Now, what does this mean for Assassin's Creed? I think that would mean that it would be very, very wise for Ubisoft to not release Assassin's Creed right around the same time, because I do think that's going to impact the sales of one of those two games, and I think more likely than not, the game that would be more so impacted is Watch Dogs Legions. PlayStation 5 Heatsink Pen is now available public. You can look at that, and Doraemon Story of Seasons for PS4 is coming to the West on September 4th. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.